there we are, live on YouTube. Miki Kersgard, this mic is all yours.
Thank you, Lynn. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Hello to Dana. Welcome back. Glad to see you. Yay. We've had an exciting morning here at Gather and some lovely stuff going on. Everything's on YouTube if anybody wants to see the early sessions for Thankful Thursday. And I am so thankful for everyone and everything. Um, let me be truly helpful here and center myself and take a breath and say to everyone on everyone's behalf, I am here only to be truly helpful. I am here to represent him who sent me. I do not have to worry about what to say or what to do because he who sent me will direct me. I am content to be wherever he wishes, knowing that he goes there with me, and I will be healed as I let him teach me to heal. Amen. Thank you and welcome. So, fun week this week. As I reported last week, the sacred grandchild passed his driving test. Woohoo! And the other day, he dropped his mom off over here, and I saw him driving away by himself in their big Toyota 4Runner and thought, holy moly, that must be really exciting. I can very vaguely remember the first time I ever drove a car by myself. And it's nerve-wracking and incredibly exciting and liberating all at the same time. So that was fun to see. It was really fun to see him drive off in a car by himself. And then I heard the next day that he took his sister and a friend of theirs to the mall by themselves with no adult supervision. And I thought that was so great. What did you do? Oh, we just went there to eat. What did you eat? Taco Bell. I thought that they drove all the way to the mall to go eat Taco Bell. I thought that was one of the funniest things I've ever heard. But just the thought of two 15-year-olds and an 18-year-old going off by themselves to eat Taco Bell at the mall it just seemed like the happiest moment on earth. It was, I had to laugh and I had to really, really appreciate it. And Lynn wrote in the chat, I didn't drive until I was 30. It was terrifying. Yeah, I think if you do it as a teenager, it's a lot less terrifying. If you wait until you get older, all that fear can creep in. Anyway, it's been a fun week in the family here, and I really appreciated it. One of the things I got to tell you, sometimes you've all seen the notebook that I write in, and sometimes there's only like 4 or 5 lines that I look back on and talk about over the week. This is the notebook this week. It, it's amazing. It has just things are flying in. Amazing thoughts have been flying in from everywhere. And one of the things was a friend of mine last weekend was talking about, he went on a little bit of a rant about how he doesn't like it when people find meaning in what he calls silly things, like people see numbers, like if the clock turns to 11:11, that, oh, that means the angels are here with us. Um, we were just talking earlier, Lynn was talking about astrology and Mercury in retrograde. We give great meaning to those symbols, to those signs and symbols. I remember many, many years, let's see, a half a lifetime ago, I heard a little poem, and it's about crows. One for sorrow, two for mirth, three for wedding, four for birth, and it goes on up to 10, I think. And I gave such meaning to that if I was walking around or driving and one crow flew in my field of vision, I thought doom was going to come down upon me. And I kept looking all day for what was the horrible thing, what was the one for sorrow representing. It it haunted me for years. I finally drilled it out of me. For a while I had to substitute it with one crow meant a message was coming, or one crow meant something else. I kept giving different meanings. What did Lynn just write? We made them up and gave them the meaning. It's a map of my consciousness. Absolutely. I put that thing into my consciousness that meant, some big deal was going to happen, or, three for a wedding. Every time I saw three crows, I thought I was going to meet the man of my dreams. I just, oh my God, the meanings we give everything. And as I was listening to my friend rant about this the other day, it came to me, we find meaning in the meaningless. We're constantly trying to find meaning in the world, something someone says or did or looked at us the wrong way has this great meaning in our lives. I didn't get that job I really thought I was going to get. That means I'm not good enough. I didn't get invited to some event or some group. Oh my God, that means I am not good enough. Um, Now we give meaning to things, when we're studying the course. I got sick, that means I have unconscious guilt. That's why I'm sick. That's why my body is doing things. That's why I'm experiencing pain. Because of guilt. No, it's it's something the body is going through. Um, we're constantly trying to give meaning to the meaningless. And I looked it up in the workbook. Here's my little workbook. I highlighted these. 8 out of the first 20 lessons in the course are trying to tell us how stupid this is. Lesson 1, nothing I see means anything. Lesson 2, Dove likes to cite these first 2 lessons. Just in case you think it means anything, I have given everything I see all the meaning that it has for me. Lesson 4, these thoughts do not mean anything. Lesson 10, my thoughts just in case you wanted to assign greater meaning to my thoughts as opposed to these thoughts. My thoughts do not mean anything. Lesson 11. My meaningless thoughts are showing me a meaningless world. Meaningless. Lesson 12. I am upset because I see a meaningless world. Lesson 13. A meaningless world engenders fear. Lesson 14. God did not create a meaningless world. We are constantly, we're always trying to give meaning to everything in a meaningless world. What a crock of crap. I want rainbows. You see a rainbow. Oh, look, we're getting a blessing. The signs and symbols are everywhere. It's not what we ought to be focusing on. Yes, these are fun. I love astrology. I love tarot cards. There's a whole deck of 72, is it 72 or 3 cards, that have meaning that I can, deal out 10 of them and give meaning to a whole bunch of stuff in my life. We play around with this stuff, but we really have to understand those 8 lessons out of the first 20 are telling us there is nothing at all that's meaningful in this world. These thoughts don't mean anything. These signs and symbols don't mean anything. They're not what God created. They are not. God created me still in stillness as spirit. God didn't send a crow to tell me I was going to have a bad day. Selma's laughing. She knows what I'm talking about. We all are subject to these superstitions and signs and symbols, and yes, as a body, as a human in the world, I can have fun playing around with that stuff, but I have to constantly bring my mind back to what is real, what is the truth. The truth is true and nothing else is true. The truth is oneness. The truth is stillness. The truth is love, not some crow. Oh, the crows put on a show today. I've got a little gathering of pine trees across the street from my window here, so I'm always seeing the show that is going on with the crows, and I don't put great meaning on them anymore. But the crows and the hawks and the vultures were having a war this morning, and I saw a crow beat the crap out of a huge vulture. Right during our last session, it was like, if any of you were here and saw me go, oh my God, it was this crow like dive bombing an enormous vulture. Didn't put meaning to it though, but it was fun. But yeah, it, I really have to draw myself back every once in a while from giving meaning to anything, especially what people say or do. We are giving so much meaning to what people say and do, thinking that it's some reflection on who we are or what we are. who we are is so detached from all of this, from everything that's good, the busyness, the walking around, the doing, the being in a body. We are the awareness of everything. That's all. We are, can we help? Can we love? Can we be kind, like Rafi was talking about at the end of the last session? Absolutely. And why did he say that? Because it takes the spotlight off of us, he said, and puts it on someone else. And that stops us from being so self-conscious that we can't be the awareness. We're not the signs, we're not the symbols, we're not the reactions, we're not this means that means the other thing. What's happening to this body has meaning. It's just a classroom. They're just lessons and it's just a classroom. We give such great meaning. So on to eventually we're going to get to what is the last judgment? Question 10 in our part 2 of the workbook. But I went back this past week and I looked at the whole sequence that we've been going through with these questions. And I went back a little bit further in my studies, because one of the gals in the lesson group that I meet with every morning said something that really, it just lit up my soul. She said, in the happy dream, we can have peace in a perceptual world. Think about that. We're in a perceptual world where everything is conflict and chaos and craziness and meaning to the meaningless. In the world of perception, we are constantly giving meaning to the meaningless. When we have peace in that, when we go inward and we go into the light of who we really are, we can have peace in the perceptual world. And that's the happy dream. That just, I don't know if that gives you guys what it gave me, but I was just like, oh my God, she just said one of the most profound things I've ever heard. We can have peace in a perceptual world, and that's the happy dream. So if we go from that, so the Course kind of takes us through this whole sequence of, at first we're just in chaos and conflict, and then we find some peace despite all of that, and we're in the happy dream. And then we go from that, if we can be aware, if we can be in the awareness that makes the dream a little happier and really be in that awareness, then we're in the real world. And then, so we go from the happy dream to the real world. And in the real world, what it was talking about is we can still be aware of being separate. We can still be in that feeling of being this personality, this identity, and be in the real world. Miki can be aware of the real world and let go enough in the dream to be in the real world. I can see the meaninglessness of everything. I can see how meaningless everything is. And me as a separate personality, as an individual, can be in the real world. When we go beyond that and we realize the oneness, when we let go of the ego, then we're in the second coming. When all of us and at the end of that answer to the question, what is the second coming? We realize there is no separation. At that, so it takes us happy dream, still separate. Real world still can be separate. Second coming, there is no separation in anyone. It made it very clear in that whole section that the second coming is when there is no separation for any mind. And then we get to our question for the week, which is, what is the last judgment? And, if anybody grew up in a household where anybody quoted the Bible at all, the Last Judgment is a very scary thing. And I'm so appreciative of the course. I didn't grow up in a Bible household, but I I grew up in a very Catholic neighborhood, and all my friends, you know, were conditioned to that is the scariest thing on earth, because that's when it's decided, are you going to heaven or are you going to hell? And oh boy, I heard enough about it from my friends who went to Our Lady of Good Counsel down the street, the Catholic school with the nuns. I heard about the Last Judgment enough and about heaven and hell enough to be terrified of the phrase. And Zulma's with me on that one. She grew up Catholic. We know. I was Catholic adjacent because all of my friends were Catholic. So I knew enough about it. The Last Judgment was not what you wanted to happen, because that day of judgment, we were all going to be damned. Because go ahead, Zulma.
Which is the reason why people are afraid to die.
Yes,
You know,
yes.
die. That's all I got. I have a 12 o'clock meeting. I hate to have to go, but I gotta go. But that's really it. People are afraid to die because, like, oh my God, that last sin that I committed. Oh, I'm definitely going to hell. The hot
Oh,
thing.
gee.
And no one has ever come back not no one has ever come back and said this is what hell is. In fact, every near-death experience we hear about has nothing to do with that. A and B, the whole thing about hell in the Apostles' Creed, which is a Catholic prayer, it talks about Jesus. The third day he arose again from the dead. He descended into hell. The third day he arose again from the dead. So basically, hell and death were one. Yeah, I gotta
Interesting.
go. Didn't
I've
think about
been
that.
wondering for a long time, why are people so scared to die?
It's
I'm
hell.
like, take me now. I want to go on that next adventure.
It's the fear that,
I'm
well,
tired of this.
we say fear the unknown, but if you go back to all the traditional stuff, hell and hell and death were one. They're equated. I have a meeting. I gotta go. I'm gonna be late. I love you.
Bye, honey. I love you. Oh my God. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. That's why people are scared to die, because they think, Oh man, there was that one thing. Now I get it. Jeez, thank goodness. Now I understand. I can finally empathize with those people who are terrified of death. They think they're going to hell. But let's find out what the Last Judgment really is. Let us ask our brother Jesus. What is the Last Judgment? So he starts out talking about last week's, or when last we spoke, or whenever that was that I read that question, talking about the second coming. Christ's second coming gives the Son of God this gift. So when last we spoke, we heard about the gift that God is giving the Son. To hear the voice for God proclaim that what is false, and what is true has never changed. What is false, and what is false is all the meaning that we are giving to a meaning. God, I love, I'm like, this week I'm going to sound really disjointed. First I'm talking, as I was talking, I'm like, what is meaning to the meaningless? And how does that connect with the Last Judgment? And I don't care, I'm just talking anyway. Here it is. Here it is, first sentence of this section. Christ's second coming gives the Son of God this gift, to hear the voice for God proclaim that what is false, that all the meaning that we are giving to a meaningless world is false. And what is true, the oneness, the love that we all are, has never changed. We have never done anything to be judged and condemned to hell. You gotta love this stuff, how it all works out. Golly, Ned. And this, the judgment is, in which perception ends. All the perceiving that we have in the happy dream, all the perceiving that we can even have in the real world, in the second coming, we all become one. Boom, perception ends. We're done. Our work here is done. At first, you see a world that has accepted this as true, projected from a now corrected mind. And with this holy sight, perception gives a silent blessing and then disappears. Its goal accomplished and its mission done. As I said, our work here is done. Excuse me. So that just took us through that whole sequence that I was talking about. At first, we're seeing a world. And we're accepting, then we accept as true that what is false, and what is true has never changed. At first, you see a world that has accepted this as true. What is false, what is true has never changed. Projected from a now corrected mind. Second coming, we see the separation never happened. We are still one. We are still as God created us. And with this holy sight, perception gives a silent blessing and then disappears. Its goal accomplished and its mission done. And that's the second coming. So we start out This whole first paragraph is just verifying to us what the second coming is, what it did, what it does. Goal accomplished, mission done. And then we get to what really is the last judgment. The final judgment on the world contains no condemnation. How could it? How could it possibly? Hi, Bob. The final judgment on the world contains no condemnation, for it sees the world as totally forgiven, without sin and wholly purposeless. In other words, meaningless. All the meaning that we've given all of this, totally forgiven. And that's what forgiveness really is. Not us not blaming another brother for something, not us forgiving ourselves for what we're thinking. We're forgiving having given meaning to the meaningless. We're forgiving ourselves for thinking any of this is real, for having given meaning to the world, for having given meaning to numbers and signs and symbols and things people said or did, or things that happened to us or that happened to our bodies. We've given meaning to. Forgiveness is realizing that none of this has had any meaning whatsoever. Because there is no guilt. There was nothing to feel guilty about. Nothing ever happened that we are guilty for or from. The final judgment on the world contains no condemnation, for it sees the world as totally forgiven, without sin and wholly purposeless or wholly meaningless, without a cause and now without a function in Christ's sight. It merely slips away to nothingness. Because the moment we can let go of any meaning, the moment we can really, really believe that nothing has any meaning here, it just slips away into nothingness. We are holding on to this by giving meaning to it. Boy, and I thought these two topics were disjointed and not connected. And look at how connected they are. Without a cause and now without function in Christ's sight, it merely slips away into nothingness. We've grabbed hold of meaning in this world. Every time we give anything here, any meaning, we're holding on to it. It cannot slip away into nothingness if we're putting meaning onto everything. There it was born, and there it ends as well. It was born when we put meaning onto thinking a tiny mad idea. We put meaning onto it. We gave it a judgment of being bad. The minute we label something bad or good, we're giving it meaning. The moment we thought, oh, I wonder what it would be like to have my own will and be separate. Oh my God, what a horrible thought. We gave meaning to it. We made it bad or good. It had purpose. Boom, big bang, world of creation, world of making. There it was born, and there it ends as well. As soon as we let go of meaning, we let go of this, we let go of the ego. I got to go back to the beginning of this because it's so perfect. The final judgment on the world contains no condemnation, for it sees the world as totally forgiven, without sin, and wholly purposeless or meaningless, without a cause, and now without a function in Christ's sight. It merely slips away to nothingness. There it was born, and there it ends as well. And all the figures in the dream in which the world began go with it. Bodies now are useless and will therefore fade away because the Son of God is limitless. That just shows you all the meaning we're giving everything. Nothing I see means anything. I have given everything. I see all the meaning that it has. And as long as I'm seeing that, as long as I'm still giving all of this stuff meaning, it can't slip away. I release myself and I release my brother. That's releasing myself and releasing my brother, giving meaning to anything, giving meaning to anything he says or he does, giving meaning to anything I say or do, giving meaning to what happens with this body, whether it's in pain or not. I'm giving meaning to it. I'm holding on to it with a death grip. As long as I see it as, this is giving me a new insight into anything that I think is wrong with this body. I'm giving meaning to it. If I just let it be and stop giving meaning to it. Oh, I should have done this. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. Oh, if I eat the right things, if I take the right vitamins, if I, it'll, yes, it might help the body, but it's not going to do anything to the meaning that I'm giving it. I need to let go of what I think is going on with anything and just live in awareness and acceptance. Because the minute I let go of all the meaning anything has, I'm at least in the real world. I'm at least there in the real world. And if I can see the meaninglessness of everything, it goes out through the entire consciousness. And then we're in the second coming. And then everything disappears. Okay, paragraph 3. Let's see what it says next. Because I've read this, I don't know how many, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've read this 7 times already in all the days we've been doing these lessons, and these new things are coming in now. I've harped on this every week. read this every day for the whole 10 days. I've decided that I'm going to go back to section 1, chapter 1, and read it this many times till I get this many revelations of what's going on in this book, because it's just, I know I only have to read one paragraph and that's the whole course. And if I really get it, I'm done. But I'm having a good time. Come along for the ride. Okay, paragraph 3. You who believe that God's last judgment would condemn the world to hell along with you, accept this holy truth. Just in case you didn't realize what was false and what was true never changed, please at least accept this truth. God's judgment is the gift of the correction he bestowed on all your errors, freeing you from them and all effects they ever seem to have. He's taking the meaning away from us. God's judgment is the gift of the correction he bestowed on all your errors. All those times I thought anything had any meaning, the correction is available to me. Any thought I have, any fear thought, any judgmental thought, any crappy crow counting I've done. Oh my gosh. God's judgment, the judgment is the correction. He's not condemning me to hell. There's not going to be a judgment day where he decides whether I go to heaven or I go to hell. His judgment is the correction. Oh, I'm sorry, my poor child. You thought wrongly. Here's the correction. And I'm going to free you from all those meaningless thoughts you had and all the effects they ever seem to have. To fear God's saving grace is but to fear complete release from suffering, return to peace, security, and happiness, and unity and union with your own capital I identity. So if I fear the last judgment, if I think there's something scary in the last judgment, I'm fearing my own salvation. This is my salvation. Release from suffering, my salvation. Return to peace, my salvation. Security and happiness, my salvation. Union with my capital I identity, my salvation. Lynn put in the chat, Counting Crows is a great group. They made some great music, but they sent me on that little quest to find out what Counting Crows was about. I rue the day. I spent so many years being scared of how many crows I was going to see. Paragraph 4. Are we done with paragraph 3? I don't know. I want to go back to the saving grace. So the last judgment is the saving grace that gives me complete release from suffering, return to peace, security and happiness, and union with my identity, which is the one mind. God's final judgment is as merciful as every step in his appointed plan to bless his son and call him to return to to the eternal peace he shares with him. Pardon me. Be not afraid of love, for it alone can heal all sorrow, wipe away all tears, and gently waken from his dream of pain the Son of God, the Son whom God acknowledges as his. Be not afraid of this. Salvation asks you give it welcome, and the world awaits your glad acceptance, which will set it free. My acceptance that all of this is meaningless is going to set everything free. The world awaits your glad acceptance, which will set it free. If I can let go of all judgment, if I can let go of all meaning, if I can let go of any attachment I have to what this world means, I don't have to let go of my attachment to the world. Everyone's like, oh, but I love the birds and the pretty trees and the flowers and, drives in the country and my friends and my family. We don't have to let go of that. That's not what we're letting go of. We're letting go of the meaning. We're letting go of giving that meaning in a meaningless world. I don't have to turn my back on my friends and family and sit in a cave and be in solitude and shun the world. I don't have to let go of appreciating a, a beautiful view or the waves in the ocean or the whales singing or, I don't, that's what's going to set the world free is me attaching meaning to that, is letting go of attaching meaning to that. Sorry, I misspoke. I have to stop giving meaning to a meaningless world. I have to stop seeing meaning in whether or not people like and approve of me, of whether or not I have a special relationship with someone or something, special love or special hate. I have to let go of all the meaning that I'm giving to the world. Boy, what a gift that was. That one little ranty comment about somebody thinking 11:11 meant the angels were here. That was one tiny comment, and it just dominoed into this whole revelation for me of the meaning that we give a meaningless world. And the world awaits my acceptance of how meaningless it is, and therefore is set free. Paragraph 5. This is God's final judgment. You are still my holy son, forever innocent, forever loving, and forever loved, as limitless as your creator, and completely changeless and forever pure. Therefore, awaken and return to me. I am your father, and you are my son. There's the meaning. What is true has never changed. You are still my holy son, singular, one. Nobody gets left out. There are no exceptions. Karen's favorite line, only equals are at peace. We cannot exclude anyone in this. We have to realize that no matter what the appearances are, we think somebody did a horrendous, vile thing. We're giving meaning to it. We're giving meaning to a meaningless world. There is absolutely no meaning in anything that is going on. God's final judgment, you, all of you, everyone, everything, any appearance, you are still my holy son, forever innocent, no matter what the appearances are, forever loving and forever loved, as limitless as your creator, as limitless as God. Dan, I see you. Let me just finish this last sentence. And completely changeless and forever pure. Go ahead, Dana.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yep.
Hey, Mickey. Hey,
Hi,
everybody.
honey.
It's funny that you're talking about this because it was a few months ago, and this thought had sort of crossed my mind, and it had to do with giving meaning to things, about how meaningful the act was of giving meaning to things. Just the act of assigning the meaning was meaningful. And then from a spiritual place, changing the meaning and giving one meaning a more spiritual meaning. And I noticed behind all of it, there was some sort of an attachment to doing and that feeling of accomplishment, that feeling of if I can see a meaning in something and then change the meaning and improve the meaning and spiritualize the meaning, then that was meaningful. And how just that it was like this never ending loop of assigning meaning and then getting like a charge out of just the assigning of the meaning in general. So it was just something I wanted to share. I thought it was interesting even that you brought up the Last Judgment, because just a couple hours ago I went to, it was one of the online versions of the course, and it has an oracle, and I hit the oracle and said decide for me, and sure enough what it actually brought up, it wasn't the workbook version of the Last Judgment. It was from chapter 2. I'm trying, yeah, the separation and the atonement, the meaning of the Last Judgment. And so that was what it had me read today. And here you're talking about that too. And it was just thought it was very serendipitous. So I just thought I would mention it.
Awesome. And I read that section last night. And if I had time, I was going to go to that section, but I rattled on too much to do that. But I really recommend. Oh, yeah, the other thing I was going to do today was I was going to read The Forgiven World, which is chapter 17, section 2, because I discovered this with a friend of mine the other day. If you read the last three questions in the workbook that we've just been doing, what is the real world? What is the second coming? And what is the last judgment? and then read chapter 17, section 2, the forgiven world, it's transcendent. It will change your life. I really mean it. I beg of everyone, do that. You will thank me for it. It's gorgeous. Just that it gives you chills. It really does. But we're almost out of time. I didn't finish up that last paragraph all the way through again. I got to read it for the last go round and finish that last couple of sentences. This is God's final judgment. This is so gorgeous, you guys. Just really, really listen to this. This is God's final judgment. You are still my holy son, forever innocent, forever loving, and forever loved, as limitless as your creator, and completely changeless and forever pure. Therefore, awaken and return to me. I am your father, and you are my son. And Dove said, now own it. Absolutely. Own that. And let's see, it's chapter 17, section 2, the forgiven world. That's my time.
Thank you so much, Mickey, and how I appreciate your hour. I'm calling Wayne. He had called me, so I think he may be calling off. But let me see. I'm going to go ahead and close out the YouTube. And thank you guys so much for being here. YouTube. Oh.